This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Judith.
And I'm Alina. We are internet friends turned real-life friends who both experienced the tragic loss of our sons to sudden infant death syndrome in winter of 2021.
In the year after Aiden died, my husband and I both became unemployed. My parents divorced, and we had to move 5 times for various reasons.
And as for me, just a few weeks before my son Quinn died, my then husband had come out to me as a transgender woman and were subsequently divorcing.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot.
But as long as we're living, we will love our sons deeply and work to make sure that we live a life that makes them proud.
Welcome to As Long As I'm Living podcast.
We're so glad you're here.
It's almost March 4th.
I have nothing to say.
He's still dead. How's your brain feel?
It's starting to detach from my head.
Yeah.
I took off work this afternoon and tomorrow.
Smart. I remember last year on March 4th, you were very pregnant. And I remember you really, really wanted to lie on your back and grieve, but you couldn't because you had that big old baby.
That's really funny. Yeah, that's true.
So maybe you should do some lying on your back and grieving.
That would be good. Maybe I should. The other day I went to my husband's office and I saw these pictures of both of them as like my daughter and my son as babies on his desk.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I guess I never see them together. It made me so happy.
Yeah. I have this behind me at my desk. I have a picture of Quinn and then I have a picture of me and Tyler, and the two pictures are next to each other, but it makes me so sad that I'll never see the two of them in a picture together, or the three of us. It's like, and I can imagine it's the same with your daughter and Aiden. Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah. I told you I have nothing really novel to say. He's still dead. I did make that slideshow.
Yeah, you did, which was good. I've been feeling recently like the statute of limitations on my grieving has like well and truly expired. Like I feel like there's no more room in my life to be on the floor, and like I need to get my shit together at work and like all of this stuff. And I do feel like year 2, like turning over into year 2 was like a turning point where I was like, all right, Alina, you're done. Like not done. Like I didn't feel done in my heart, but like I feel like I think the statute of limitations was much longer for me than for a lot of other losses because he was in my home and he was in my arms and there are pictures of him and he existed and was born alive and all this stuff. Like I think it runs out sooner for other types of baby loss. But I really feel like it has run out. Do you feel like that at all? Or do you feel like you still have space? You definitely don't have space. You have a living daughter. You don't have any space.
I have no space. But it's not even that. It just doesn't feel like the most pressing problem. But things related to it are very pressing.
Uh-huh. It all relates.
Meaning, like, I think I've processed his loss, but I think I have not processed a lot of how my relationships have changed after loss, or how I have changed after loss. And I feel like a lot of, like, the biggest problems in my life right now are not that he died, it's that he died and I have to deal with all this other shit that comes along with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a really good point. I think that the missing of him is a feeling that is painful, but I understand it. And I always want to prioritize that. Like I always want to recognize the lack of him in my life, but I feel like so much other shit around it besides the missing of him is what I wind up focusing all of my energy on. And that doesn't really feel particularly helpful grieving wise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's true.
What are you feeling for this weekend? You got any plans? You're going away, right?
We're going away. I wanted to go to LA, and I do think it would be better if we were going, but it's just not feasible this year, so I'm sad I won't be able to be close to him. But at least, like when I thought about what I wanted, I wanted to be near the ocean because that's where I feel closest to Aiden. So we're staying for the weekend by a beach, and my mom is going to come watch my daughter. And so we'll have space just to kind of grieve privately. I think people like keep calling me to like check on me, and I'm just kind of like, okay. And I think that's confusing to them. Maybe, I feel like one thing I'm struggling with is like, I never know what to say on my personal Facebook page because I never really know what to say. Like, I feel like people who've lost people are like, write these rambling, heartfelt things. And I don't know who actually, what are we trying to do with that? What is the goal? What is the objective that we're trying to do?
It almost feels easier to do the birthday post than it does to the death anniversary post. I don't think I posted on the death anniversary this year. It's like, hello, this is the anniversary of the worst day of my life. Acknowledge it. Like, is it just that you want people to acknowledge it? Like, there's something about people just like scrolling by that type of post that like, I don't know, it doesn't feel good. Like they just get to scroll by and put a broken heart emoji in a comment and like, I have to live it.
Yes. It doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. And how many times can I ask people to do this? I don't want to be, I've never wanted to be a zoo animal. And I feel very like acutely zoo animal-y when I post on Facebook.
Well, you don't have to post on Facebook if you don't want to.
But I'm afraid that if I don't, that people are gonna forget about him or not check on me. Like I think it's like I do it as a way because I don't expect people to remember the date, but I do expect people to check on me, the ones that care. And I don't think it's fair to ask people to check on me and remember the date if I don't remind them.
If you don't remind them.
It's like if you never tell anyone your birthday, or if like, I don't know, I don't, you know what, Alina, I only know your birthday in relationship
to Quinn's death anniversary.
I wouldn't remember your birthday otherwise. Like, I really don't remember people's birthdays. And so I don't blame them. Like, I would need you to remind me. It's not that I don't want to celebrate you. I just would need you to remind me. And so I feel like it's only fair to, like, remind people if I expect them to check on me.
But is it that you're going to get you'll get a bunch of short support messages from a bunch of randoms.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really help anyway. Like the people who are in your life who you really care about, who would actually be able to support you, like they should be remembering on their own without.
You know what, Alina? I really would not make that assumption. I really wouldn't. You would think, but I don't think so. People continually invite me to like come to things on this weekend. They continually like his birthday. Like they don't remember his birthday's on a holiday, so you would remember. Like I remember.
Yeah.
You would think that people would remember, but they don't. And it's like I can only be angry and justified in my anger if they know and choose not to remember, like choose not to do something about it. I don't feel like it's fair. And so basically the reason why I post on Facebook is to remind people like, hey, I'm still upset about this loss. Like you still need to be a friend.
I think that's fair. As long as it doesn't feel like an obligation for you. I mean, it definitely feels like an obligation, but as long as it doesn't feel like I guess it does feel like an obligation.
It does.
But you understand what the obligation is and you're choosing to do it anyway.
Yes.
So that's
how weird, like to post 1,200 people or whatever, 1,500 people.
I can't believe you have that many Facebook friends. That's insane.
With the expectation of really, I only want to hear from 5 of them. I only want to hear from 5 of them. But if those fucking 5 don't text me or call me, I will be so angry and hurt.
Judith, this is actually reminding me, I was on the train the other day and I overheard these 2 women talking and one of them was like, yeah, her baby died. And it's like all she posts about. I know. And I turned to Tyler and I was like, is that all I post about? I looked at my Facebook and literally every post that I've made since he died is about his death. Like, and I don't post that frequently, but
what?
3 times a year. But all of them are about him being dead. But I like was just thinking to myself, like, what privilege to not, like, people who have alive children post about their alive children all the time. Like, that's all they post about, and nobody's judging them on the train. And it just like broke my heart.
I judge them.
You judge the people on the train.
I judge people who post only about their children, and I judged them before. I thought there was this one person, this man, who posts about his kids every fucking day. Do you think I care that they wake up in the morning and clap their hands? I don't care.
Okay, but the thing is, we judge them like personally, right? But we're not like the judgment, the type of judgment that I was like sensing from these women about this poor bereaved mom that they were judging was like a different type of judgment. Like it was like a little bit more, it felt like a hurtful type of judgment. And maybe that's just because I'm in the group of people that they were talking about. But like, how dare you, like, just mute her. Like, if you don't want to see it, you don't have to see it. Like, you don't, like, how lucky for you that you don't know what it's like to have your baby die.
Oh my God, Alina, the other day I went for a walk with this woman, and she was asking about my weekend plans. And I said to her that we're going away to the beach this weekend. And she was like, oh, what are you doing there? Anything fun? And so I told her, and whatever. She asked some really good questions about my husband and I and how we grieve. She asked some like genuinely good questions. And then I said to her, have you ever like lost anyone, like a grandparent? And she's like, no. And I literally said, must be nice.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. She has not lost one person. Like, she does not know the pain of grief, not even tangentially. Like, she couldn't relate.
What?
I know.
That's insane.
I think one of the reasons that I did not post about the loss on my personal accounts is because I'm afraid of people saying things like that. That would really hurt my feelings. And I think I love having an Instagram page that is fully dedicated to like my loss and my grief that people can opt into. You know,
100%.
Like very few of my personal life friends follow, but the ones that do opt in.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so they know what they're signing up for. If you don't like that, then like unfriend me. But like, I don't post this on my personal page because I do understand that people are like weird about that. And so like, I feel like I have to do it in my own, like kind of almost private way amongst us grieving people.
Yeah. It feels so much more comfortable to talk about my extreme, like this excruciating grief with 3,000 Instagram followers who also know what it feels like than it does to talk to like, you know, to post to my people. 300 actual people who know me. The looky-loos.
Agree. What does it say about our culture?
Doesn't say anything good. Okay. I have one question for you. We can keep this episode short because I know it's a tough time of year, but I have a question for you. So, each year on Quinn's death anniversary, I've done a little journaling exercise where I think about the times that I was glad to be alive in the previous year. Because in the first year, there were only 9 times. It was not an easy year, obviously. And in year 2, there were so many more times, and it was so special and meaningful to think through all of those times. And so I guess my question to you is, would you like to share with us a time you were glad you were alive in year 2? And I can share one of mine too.
Well, I have a living child now, and I'm glad that I'm alive because even if I'm miserable, like I don't want to miss a moment of her life, and she really needs me. Like, so I feel like even when I hate my life and I don't want to live, I still want to live for her. So I guess like aside from that though, let's put that aside to complete the exercise.
I'll say mine first, which was when we were swimming in the rain.
Yeah, that was
this past summer. That was so special.
So that was one of them. When I went to that Bruno Mars concert.
Yeah.
No, not Bruno Mars.
It was Andy Grammer.
I went to 2 Andy Grammer concerts, and I was so happy that I was alive for those. Obviously, the day my daughter was born, even though it was a horrible day for a lot of reasons, it was an amazing day for a million more. So I'm glad that I lived through that. Mostly because
Portugal.
Yeah, the whole week I was in Portugal, like, was so amazing. I was so happy to be alive. I was so happy to have that experience.
And you got to
Um,
bring your daughter too. How fun. 3 generations of women got to hang out in Portugal.
Drinking wine, pretty
Yeah.
much. She didn't drink wine. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. That's such a good question. What are some other, really not that many. Like, I'm surprised by how few I can think of. I also can't remember the year, and I am under, like, I don't remember much about the entire year. But,
Yeah.
you know, I had a really nice holiday Rosh Hashanah dinner.
Mm.
And it was the first holiday that I could enjoy in over a year and a half. And that was like the first time where my home felt like the home I envisioned for my future. And
Yeah.
and so I would say that night, I mean, there's nothing particularly special about it other than I really hadn't had that, like the
Yeah.
joy of a holiday.
Just had good energy.
Good energy and that noise of like people just delighting in the presence of one another.
Yes. Yeah.
There's some like real magic that happens there.
Yeah.
I think that there was like this past summer, we have a pool in our like neighborhood complex. And I feel like there was a day, I can't remember which day, but I feel like there was definitely a day where I got to like lay out in the sun after spending time in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like I think probably because I'm from California, like those things are important to me. Just like, I don't know what it is. It's just like hearing the kids play in the background and like that feels good when you're just out of the pool and you're not hot yet from the humidity, but it's like that perfect temperature.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That is such a special feeling. And I think what's nice about that one in particular, or what's meaningful about that one in particular, is I think that's the kind of simple joy you've probably always had your whole life. That feeling. Like I think all of us probably know what that feeling is, right? You're just like a perfect temperature. Your body's a little tired from swimming. Maybe you had a good lunch, like you're not working. Like there's something so good about that feeling. And I think that's the kind of feeling that in the early days of the loss, like you cannot find joy in it because you're just so miserable.
100%.
And it does feel good to have enough healing and growth to be able to find joy in that again. It feels so good.
It feels so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've come a long way. It's been a hard year though.
It's been a horrible year. A horrible year.
Yeah.
I do worry that one day my daughter will hear these and she'll think I'm talking about her. I'm not talking about her. She's perfect and the best thing in the entire world, and I'm just so glad that I have her, and she's like literally the best, and I'm so glad she's alive. But it's been a horrible year. A lot of people say year 2 is worse than year 1 in a lot of ways. Year 1 was horrible. Year 2 was horrible. Like when does it get better?
I feel like year 2 was better than year 1, but only marginally. What do you think?
Now you've been 2 months into year 3, and what do you think?
Year 3 is better so far, but I had a bad transition into year 3. The first week of year 3 was rough because I was still coming down from the death anniversary, but I've been feeling good in year 3 so far. We'll see. Maybe year 3 is my year.
Like I just need some luck. I need some good to just like come my way. You know, it's funny because yesterday I got this bill from a doctor that I saw for literally 20 minutes. That's $500. It's insane. And 20 seconds after that, my work called me and said, "Oh, we forgot to tell you that we pay $45 every month for like your Wi-Fi and cell phone bill." And it basically like equates to $500. Like that out. And I thought to myself, like, it's my life like does happen like that. Like I think there are lucky breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see them as that, or
yeah. Well, you got a little sign from Aiden the other day.
I did.
At CVS.
Oh yeah, I went to CVS. And I like wanted to get myself a little treat, but I couldn't identify a treat. And I was just wandering around CVS for like probably 45 minutes. I don't even know. I just had an hour break and I didn't know where to go. So I went to CVS and I just like felt compelled to stay in the store and walk around for a long time. And I was standing in front of the nail aisle and all of a sudden my Aiden song came on the radio. And it was a sign from him telling me, I think, to get these this nail polish stuff, this press-on nails. And I put them on, and for 20 minutes, my nails looked great, and then they all fell off. So that is my experience. So that was not such a good sign, I guess. It was a good sign until they all fell off. Alina, I don't feel good. I want to go home.
Okay, I love you. Call me if you need me, okay?
Hi everyone, it's Judith. Today is Sunday, March 5th, and Alina and I had that conversation that you just heard on Thursday, and yesterday on Saturday was Aiden's second death anniversary. So now that I've kind of been through the day, I just wanted to share one reflection that I had, which is that I've spoken about this many times, but in my everyday life, I don't have the opportunity to completely focus on Aiden in the way I once did when he was first dead. I have an alive baby that needs tending to. I have a demanding job. I have a spouse that needs me, a dog. Just life kind of gets in the way. Community responsibilities, whatever it is. Life. And I think that part of living that life is really healing. And it allows me to function in a way that's much happier, but also much more at peace. But the downside is that I definitely don't feel close to Aiden in the way that I once did. I feel like there was a time in my life where my entire world revolved around him. Even when he was dead, like my entire world completely revolved around him. I spent 9 months doing nothing but grieving. And in that time, I saw signs. I, visited him in the cemetery. I connected to him in a number of different ways that I just don't. For better or for worse now. And even though I still feel him very closely in my life, I talk about him all the time, I parent him, I love him, it's not the same. And this past weekend, my husband and I went away for the weekend. We went to the ocean near us, which is where I feel closest to him. And we had time, just the two of us, to really focus on Aiden and to think about him and love him and grieve his loss. And one thing that I wasn't expecting at all, but I wanted to share because I think it was very, painful, but also the reality of life after loss, is that I was feeling really good the whole weekend. Like, I felt level-headed. I felt like my brain was on my shoulders. I felt competent. I felt comfortable, if I was talking to a stranger. Not that I was that much, but if I was talking to a stranger, I could complete my sentences. I felt, like I had thought about food in advance, like I had figured out where we're going to stay and I remembered how to get there. All these little details that I'm not normally able to do when I'm grieving. I was really proud that I was able to do that. And I was feeling like I wasn't feeling sad and I was feeling devastated, but I was feeling in a way that was manageable. And I also felt really close to Aiden. Like I said, we were able to talk about him, but I also felt like I saw like signs from him everywhere. And we happened to be in a place by the beach, so there were all these dolphins, and I was near the water, so I felt like I was near to him, and I had pictures of him and candles, and I really felt like I was able to spend time with him in a way that I hadn't in a really long time. And I was feeling really good about the whole weekend. Like I felt really good about it. And then this morning I woke up and it's Sunday, and all of a sudden I was shattered, like completely and totally shattered, like heaving sobs, big gulping ones, not like little tears, like fierce tears, red eyes, puffy red eyes. My entire face was puffy for hours afterwards, and I was just so heartbroken and so sad. And I was so sad because I realized that I had to leave him again. Like, part of the beauty of having time to grieve is that you feel close to your children again. And then the realization that this isn't life anymore, that I was going to have to be far away from him again. It just felt like I was losing him all over. And it just really broke my heart. I think that's the difference between the first year and the second year for me, which is that you live this new normal, and this new normal feels comfortable, feels manageable. But then you remember all over again. You remember how much you loved them. You remember how much joy they brought you. And then you have to go back to life. You get like a day of being back in that world. And then the next day, responsibilities start up again. And that's another loss in itself. And it's devastating and it's sad. And I feel like I'm grieving my grief. I'm sad that I don't get the time and the space to grieve because that brings me closer to him. So I guess I just want to share that because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how year 1 looks different from year 2 or year 3. But for me, that was my experience. So tomorrow is Monday. I have to go back to work. I have to take my dog on a walk. I have to take my alive child to daycare. And I have to leave my son, I have to leave him in the weekend. Okay, bye everyone.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow.